There's a feeling from both parties the president has opened his mouth and inserted his foot once again on the refugee crisis, the most incredibly outlandish excuse ever for committing a sex crime, and how a late-night host is committing the crime of losing an audience. All pouring forth from this Friday edition of the ever-popular Can't Miss and Cannot Live Without Watercooler. We're going to welcome a new victim to the fray. She is an experienced litigator practicing in New York State and before the federal courts. She has been heard on scene in many media outlets, but right now ranks the highlight of her career being the focus at the water cooler. Trust me, that's how everybody feels. Pleasure to welcome Deborah Blum into the show. Deborah, thank you so much for joining us, and please brace yourself. It's going to be an entertaining ride. Let's go ahead and begin with this.
This is the highlight.
There you go. Let's begin with this. The president has once again voiced his support of allowing Syrian refugees into the U.S., saying that the vetting process is vigorous, it's rigorous, but he also made an interesting point about refugees versus tourists coming across the border. Here's what he said.
The idea that somehow they pose a more significant threat than all the tourists who pour into the United States every single day. It just doesn't jive with reality.
Deborah, let's talk about jiving with reality here. Syrian refugees are no more dangerous to the U.S. than tourists. What do you think?
Well, those who committed the atrocious acts of 9/11 were known to be Syrian tourists. And we just had the horrific attacks in Paris. And some of those people were Syrian refugees that were responsible for the atrocious crimes that were committed last week. So President Obama really should have chosen his words more carefully. Of course, he's just saying that many of the people that he would like to welcome into this country, Syrian refugees, they have no links to terrorism or no known links to terrorism, and that they're victims themselves of atrocious acts that are going on in Syria. But this is a very sensitive topic, and I don't think that he should be making such a comparison. And also, we really don't have enough information on these refugees. And in Turkey, people were just arrested for claiming to be refugees. They were allowed into Turkey when it turns out that they were part of ISIS. So the president has to be careful when he's speaking to the public about this.
Ooh, a careful president speaking. I don't know if we could ever get there with this guy. 40 seconds. I got two things left. Quick answers from you. Jared Fogel's lawyer says that he became hypersexual after losing weight on a diet of Subway sandwiches, and that's why he became a sexual abuser. Oh, come on, please, just stop me here, Deborah. This is ridiculous. Wow. I
think, unfortunately for him, that cost him, or actually caused him, extra jail time. The prosecutor and the defense agreed that the defense would argue for 5 years of jail and the prosecution no more than 12 and a half. The judge gave him 15 years and 6 months, so perhaps pedophilia shouldn't have been argued to be caused by his weight loss.
Hypersexual on a diet. 15 seconds. Stephen Colbert has dropped to third place. Do you think he's being too political and not entertaining enough?
It's possible. I mean, he's definitely a very entertaining man, but right now we are experiencing a lot of people going towards the right because of all of the terrorist attacks and things that are going on in this world. So perhaps his liberal views might be just too out there for most of the American population.
Indeed. That's what's happening right now, it seems. Deborah Blum, thanks so much for joining us. Have a great weekend and a great holiday. We're out of here. Rock on, true believers. See you Monday on the Hard Line.